What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of H&Y Talks. This is going to be a very unique one because we are here with You Bred Raptors, and we're going to talk about instrumental music.
You know, when you invited us back on, I didn't know this would be a theme episode. I didn't prepare anything.
Good. That's how it goes.
Instrumental music.
I mean, I don't like to be pigeonholed, but I guess we are instrumental music.
Yeah, but you've played black metal shows, you've played jazz shows, you've played comedy shows, and you've played children's birthday parties, and you've played a wedding.
You think we have actually played children's birthday parties? I think we killed it.
I hope...
They didn't
Not
invite us.
the children.
They didn't invite us.
I hope in the metaphorical sense and not...
No children were harmed in the playing of these shows.
We got paid well at a children's show.
Yeah.
We went right before The Magician and after the, after what is it called?
The clown?
No, yeah, the clown.
I think Slipknot was there.
Pinata.
Yeah.
There it is.
The
There's the
pinata.
joke.
Yeah, did they use, like, your cello bow or your bass as the pinata stick?
No. If any of our cellists actually remember to bring one of those, then we will use those.
But before we get into the talk and, you know, dive into thousands and thousands of laughs, you guys have had a lot of things going on in terms of touring and everything like that. I just recently saw you guys at Drum a couple weeks ago, which will be about a month ago when this airs. But in terms of new music and stuff, what could we be expecting from the You Bred Raptors Army?
I don't know if we're an army. I think we're more like cadets, okay? We're currently writing new music, and we want to kind of put something out by the fall, but that might be a little ambitious. I think everything's different now. We're not like working on a whole album the way that we used to do. I think we're going to try to do like an EP, or maybe we'll just do one song a month and give it to our Patreon users, or
one really
or their
long
moms.
song. It'll be just like one EP length song.
We're going to do a cover of Dark Star, and that's what we're going to release. So
Excellent.
I think we're just all collectively kind of tired of playing the same songs.
Oh, we all
For
love
so
hearing
long.
Bayonet.
I appreciate that. I love Bayonet. I love playing it. But we want to keep things fresh and interesting. We want to spice things up in the bedroom, so we have to keep trying new things. Okay, so. Well, what? Was that not good enough? By making it to 1,000 laughs?
But like, I mean, when people come out to see you guys, a lot of people love your version of Requiem for a Dream. I said it right this time, unlike a
Requiem?
Requiem. Requiem.
and your Terminator theme cover, which I originally thought was from Lord of the Rings, but
I mean, close. I'll take it though.
yeah.
I think the themes at least I like to choose themes that people are like, I know that, and then if they're really stupid, they're like, I think they wrote that song, and I'll be like, yeah, we did write it, so please buy it. But we actually don't have any of those songs for sale. Like, we have people up in the subway asking, like, which album is that on? I'm just like, that one. Just buy an album, okay? Even though you like the only song you stayed for 20 minutes and the only song you liked was one of our covers, it's fine. Just buy the album and support music. So
Absolutely.
So with that, we're going to be covering some more stuff, I guess, you know.
Yeah. And one thing that we actually talked about last time on the podcast, which there will be a link in the description to that one below.
It's going to be like right there.
Yeah.
Can you put it there?
Yeah.
I'm making you do editing bullshit right now.
Oh god, this is going to be an ass ache to edit.
When is are you going to put ads on this? You don't have enough subscribers for ads, do you?
Shut up.
Wow. Wow.
So
We're sorry.
one thing,
Unsubscribe. Unfollow. Unsubscribe. Unfollow.
oh, this is going to be a long night. But
Just breathe into the mic so he has to keep editing it out. Oh wait, if we start singing other songs, do you have to start paying royalties for it?
let's not even find out.
Coca-Cola. Can you just say brand names that are really expensive?
I'm gonna kill you, Pete. But one thing that we did talk about was, because you guys have toured all over the country before, and as you mentioned, like, depending if you're playing in a city like Chicago or you're playing in like the middle of like Des Moines, Iowa, or even in Nebraska, there's like it's a completely different environment.
Mm-hmm.
Please elaborate.
Yeah, go ahead. Why don't you
Well-
talk about the last time we played Chicago? Huh?
Most places just don't have vegetables, is what I've noticed. Like you get to some cities and you're just there's no vegetables. I don't know how people maintain their skin color, but
This is his vegetable material. We worked on this before we got here.
aside from that, most places it's similar. I think.
Well, I mean, I'd much rather play a smaller place than a big city at this point.
And you've mentioned because like when you're in like a more rural place, a smaller place,
Yeah.
like it's like kind of like there's not that much going on
There
around.
isn't, and especially a lot of those places are the flyover states. We have to hit on a Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. So we're trying to make this the big event to go to in the middle of the week. You know, because otherwise you can't just hang out in Lincoln, Nebraska from Monday or Sunday to Thursday and then play a raucous show in Arkansas on a Friday or Saturday. So I'd much rather a small town because they care more and you can park your car without it fucking getting, broken into. So
Or a ticket, worst.
we got both a
Too
ticket
soon.
and broken into on tour.
Too
I'm going to
soon.
go with the ticket every time.
Did we get it?
Yeah.
Did
got
we?
a ticket. Oh, yeah. Yeah, we got a ticket.
When?
Guess who had to pay for it?
When did we get?
I gave it to the record label and I still had to pay for it.
Shout out to the record label.
But
Sure, they're not listening.
I think it's fair to say that your music is very experimental, with your masks and with, all these different elements, having a 8-string bass, a cello player, and a percussionist.
Not just a drummer.
But I'd imagine that, like, when you make new music, trying newer things have got to be a little bit easier than if you, like, it's not like you guys have a formula that you have to stick with, right?
Well, I mean, speaking for myself, we almost can't keep doing the same thing. We've had to change up members so many times that every time there's a new energy there. You have to run with it and you have to adapt to their playing style and their writing style. So I think we're constantly evolving and shedding our skin just to make sure that it's not boring for us. So, but when we meet people on the road and we're playing, a new town, they've never heard us before. So we're gonna always have that same You Bred Raptors sound. I hope, at least.
Yeah, I figure you guys have like a sound that keeps you guys. What I think is impressive, you have a formula that prevents you guys from being repetitive, but you also have like room for experimentation.
I think we're playing, it seems like, more larger shows at this point too, so that should be kind of, I know especially as a drummer I'm thinking more now of like, okay, well I'm writing for more of a drum kit as opposed, we played mostly in the subway when I joined the band when the last album was written. It was a lot of subway shows and small shows where I literally can't even, I only have a snare, a hi-hat. I think all the drummers on most of the albums before only had that as well, so
It's true.
it's kind of nice to think now in terms of like, okay, well, a majority of our shows are getting to be more venue shows and spots where I have a little bit more, range. So I'd like to bring that into the recording process too, to see what happens.
Yeah, bring the rototoms in.
Bring the
Because
rototom. That's the
what we
one
should be
thing I
writing
don't have.
for.
Sure.
Well, I know since Tara joined the band, she stands up. She has an electric cello that sounds just like an acoustic, and so now we can incorporate more pedals into her sound, which is good.
Oh, you could be the Tom Morello of cello playing.
Tom Cello.
Cello. Everybody went for it.
That was an alley-oop, man. Thank you.
Scottie Pippen. This guy doesn't get it. This guy was born before Scottie Pippen.
I was. Is that a band?
Yes, Scottie Pippen. It's a ska band. Scottie Pippen.
Wow, Pete.
Oh boy.
Alright, alley-ooped it to you, Tara. Now it's your turn.
Yes. I think the theme of this being instrumentals, I think you have a good point that just the makeup of what we are working with lends to a bit of room for experimentation, and I think for me, I mean, I don't know many, as a cellist, I don't know many bands that cellos can be a part of with this sort of
Don't move. They don't let them in bands.
this sort of makeup, and writing and playing stuff that is very I don't know, dual voices between the cello and the bass, and Pete's bass alone, that instrument being unlike
It's just a constant validation.
I'm getting
machine.
arthritis
Sure.
look watching you play.
You get off on me? Is that what you said? I genuinely, that's what I heard.
Unsubscribe, unfollow, unsubscribe.
It's okay. I love hearing that. It's alright.
I said I get arthritis watching you play.
Arthritis? Not what I heard. I'm sorry. Tendinitis, though. I do think we've met a lot of cellists who they think they can kind of just come in and it's kind of like, oh, I'm going to read Canon and D, and they can kind of be in the background, and they're like, oh shit, this is actually a lot of material, and I'm the focal point for a lot of these songs. So I think Tara stepped up because she actually wanted that challenge.
Yeah, that's a huge. I mean, I love that about this group. It's not.
Good.
We,
You can't
cellos,
ever leave.
we get plenty of other opportunities to sit in the background and play Canon and D, and fuck that.
Well, there's a band who we interviewed called Neobliviscaris, and they're like,
Oh, you interviewed them?
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, you know them?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're an amazing band. They have very heavy parts, very melodic parts, but their singer's also, I don't know if it's a violin or a viola,
I
but,
think it's a viola.
yeah, but,
Don't you hate viola players? Isn't that what you said?
I love
you're
viola
"Fuck
players."
Viola players. I think she took me aside one time.
But-
I
She's
love
like,
viola
She's like
players.
the French horn of the string world, and I hate them.
I don't know what you're talking about.
their vocalist also plays the viola, so, like, and, when people think,
Vocalist.
oh, is the vocalist, yeah, the vocalist, I like that.
Thank
But they're always like in the front, so this gives the chance for the orchestra to kind of shine through as well.
Yeah, it's like the Metallica album, the S&M.
Yeah, I love
their best
that.
one.
I love that album.
I can't tell if you're serious.
I love that album.
Okay. All right.
Have you interviewed them?
No,
Yeah,
not yet.
no.
You could probably interview the bassoonist for the S&M album.
I would be honored.
That'd be great.
But kind of like what I was always curious with the songwriting process is because everything lines up so well with your music. It's not. I don't want to like. I would say that everything works so well together that I can't picture at this point You Bred Raptors without bass parts, without cello parts, without.
Yeah, I think we really shot ourselves in the dick by having a cellist, because now we can't get rid of them, and they're very hard to find and to keep in the band. So,
But-
unless we did backing tracks,
Which I know you guys are kind of anti.
Yeah, we're pretty much for it.
But I was always curious in the songwriting process, like what kind of comes first, because I think there's a great rhythm with it, which obviously that's the drummer's job. The bass and the cello work very well together. Do you like have to hear like maybe one tone and then you work off of a scale, or how does the?
I think it's interesting because we're actually just started writing together, and then it's been the first You Bred Raptors material in about 2 years that we've written with a different entity. So I think we did our best. We worked maybe it was 3 rehearsals on one song, and then we had 20 extra minutes to kill. And we're like, you just want to try this one thing? And that we got more done in that 20 minutes of just riffing off each other. I'm more excited about that than probably anything we've written so far, just because it was just off the cuff. And that's something Casey always says, is we need to all get together and we have to feel this out, and that's where the best material comes from, because we're all there.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I barely wrote, when I joined the band, which was about 2 years ago, most of International Genetics was already written. So it was this is really the first time.
it's crazy it's been 2 years. It
Yeah.
seems like a lifetime.
And I think, most of those songs you guys had already been playing.
But we had
For a
been
while.
going through so many drummers that each person kind of threw in their own thing,
Yeah.
and then Casey's like, well, fuck that, I'm going to do my own thing, and he's been doing something
Over
different every single
2
time.
years
since-
of playing every night, I just take it a little bit farther. So that,
Yeah, and every time because I love hearing him on a venue kit, because he just has so much more freedom to do that. But also in the subway, I like hearing him confined, because he has to get creative and do different stuff.
Of
so.
course. But with the new music, you kind of mentioned that you were jamming for 20 minutes. So as opposed to your other work, you're not going into stuff with a preconceived
Yeah,
idea.
we go in with a skeleton of something, and then they'll write to it. That can get tedious. I mean, it's there, and I'll sit there, and I'll sit and work out every single part and note to find the harmonies. But there's something to be said for the studio magic of just all being together and looking longingly into each other's eyes and just, ejaculating something beautiful for each other.
we're
So.
not really a
So
jam
poetic.
band.
We're not.
Goodbye to
it's just-
monetizing this video.
the different instruments don't really, because you're doing loops and stuff. So it's kind of, I've been in a lot of bands that wrote via just jamming, but I feel like this, because of the nature of the cello and your instrument, that it's kind of more of a, you just piece things together. There's so much space, though, we can kind of listen and say, like, oh, I really like this. Maybe we can develop this a little more.
I think it needs to be a balance for
Yeah.
sure, because otherwise you're like, oh, here's a jam band song. It's three chords, and we'll just do this, and we'll do this, and we'll do this, and it's the same fucking beat over and over again. Like, at least half and half makes you like, I have to transition into here somehow, So like, we'll just give them a drum solo, and that's what we normally do. Like,
Would you say that each song that you wrote has been like a different experience? Like, just sometimes it start off with bass, or it starts off with a drum beat, or start off with cello, and like, if that's the case, does that determine the entire composition?
I think whatever it starts as is nothing what it ends up as, especially playing it so many times. Like, the songs constantly evolve, and I want to keep starting a song differently just so it's not me fucking clicking in 4 times. Like me, I have the worst rhythm in the band, and for some reason I'm always starting the song wrong. So, again, if we had backing tracks and a DJ sampling.
Hey, I think hey, listen, I think a DJ would actually be a good, maybe unique mix to have.
Yeah, Incubus has one.
Yeah, and Incubus is awesome.
Disturbed has one, too.
Disturbed has one?
But no, they don't.
Okay.
But
See, you could be him. You could be him.
okay, sure, I would be honored. But going on, like, so you said you try to have like the new music out in the fall.
Yeah.
Like, can you picture this? You said kind of, I might be asking like the same question, but like, you're gonna try to make this record kind of stand out in its own entity and like kind of like push yourselves, or at this point, like going into the studio, you kind of like it's kind of like going through the motions at this point.
No, I mean, I don't. That's for me. I definitely don't want it to be the same, because I don't know, something Casey always drills me, like, don't confuse hard work with success, and like, what we've been doing has worked to a certain point, but we're not climbing enough. So we just kind of want to, do the opposite. Just do something. Maybe work on one song for a month, and release it, and just see how that goes. Shop that to record labels or booking agents or something.
I don't think even like thinking in terms of what you've done before. I mean, we're writing music now, so what has already happened doesn't really matter to us. It's just
It's so philosophical.
it's just about putting together where we are and writing something.
I mean, it should be. Everything
something
should be better,
interesting.
subjectively than what you've done. Like,
Yeah, of
I want it to be different at least. I don't want to ever get boring. Like, I don't mind having like a YBR sound, but I don't want it to be like, oh, here's another album they did. I don't want it to release it to the same fanfare as the other albums. I want this. We got to do something. We got to climb the New York Times building or something. That's never been done.
All right.
Is there?
No, somebody did that. I'm just kidding.
But well, there you go. So you said it would be out by the fall.
Well, hey, listen, buddy. I just said that was what I hoped.
You just got tooled.
We're gonna put this out in
It'll be out
10,000
in like
days.
2025 maybe.
All right.
No, we don't want to. We've released it. I don't know. We've always done an album like every 2 years or something. Like, fuck it, let's wait 1 year and put out like an EP, and we'll have a new songwriter with us. So I definitely want something like that. I want to push us. We're supposed to be doing like a 3-week tour in September, so it'd be sometime after that. We have a really big show at Bowery Ballroom in August. So
Can you say who with yet, or?
yeah, in Bowery Ballroom, yeah.
Okay.
It's Disturbed. You'd be really proud. We're playing with this band called the New Tarot. Your face is hilarious. New Tarot is their name?
The new Terra. She's the
No.
new cello player.
New
Yeah.
Tarot. And the U.S. Americans.
Awesome.
I thought it was the Usmer.
I think it's the U.S. There's dots there. There's periods. So this is different. Normally we would play a big show, like a big room like that, when we're opening for a band. And it'd be pretty low pressure. We'd get to play to a huge crowd. We were really looking forward to that. But this is all New York bands. And we're pretty much, might be the biggest draw on the bill. So this is really going to separate the boys from the boys to men, if you know what I mean.
I know
So,
exactly.
we really have to spend our entire summer promoting this one show. So we're going to try to have a lot of new material by then.
Awesome.
So
So you should come to that. Basically.
wait, like
I
new
will
masks,
be. I
new
marked it on my
uniforms.
calendar already.
Yeah. Casey and I are going to play topless. We're just going to... We're really trying to do stuff here.
I mean, Hey, every band needs a gimmick, right?
I think we have plenty of gimmicks.
Yeah, with the
Yeah.
Whichever ones they want to pick from. That's
We're gonna
fine.
sew patches onto our body though from now on.
And the
It's
final question I want to ask before we get into the topic of instrumental music is like, as many people have seen you before, you know, you guys wear masks. You have this, Pete. In case people couldn't tell by now, you're quite the character on stage with your commentary.
What am I, like Kimmy Gibbler up here? I'm just talking here. All right.
Kimmy Gibbler.
You got that?
Yeah.
reference? Okay.
I did watch Full House a lot as a kid, but the reruns because they stopped airing it by the time I was like 4 or something like that, or making you. But
24, huh?
that's not that young.
So you don't even remember TGIF when it was out, right?
I never. I know TGI Fridays.
What the fuck? No wonder you're into Satanism, because you didn't have the wholesome growing up of TGIF.
This is a
on this
disaster.
new podcast called Into Satanism. Tonight, we delve
He had Jack
into
Daniel's chicken
Satanism.
strips, all right? Like, your life wasn't all that bad, right?
Jack Daniel's chicken strip.
They're at TGI Fridays, god damn it.
Anyway, maybe we could get a sponsor from them after mentioning this. But
Into Satan featuring Jack
with your
Daniels.
with your performance and everything like that, was that like an image with the mask that you guys came up with like after you made the music, or was it more just like, was it just kind of like a experimental thing? How did the image kind of come to be?
I mean, how did the masks come
Yeah.
out? I was playing this really weird show called the Drawathon when I first moved to New York. So it was me and like 15 to 20 nude models on stage, and then there was like 80 artists that were drawing them. So nobody wants to draw my stupid mug because I was just up there playing for like 3 or 4 hours.
Were you naked?
I was the only one that was not naked on stage, so I was like, I have to do something. So I just started wearing weird masks while I was playing so artists could draw me. And then as we transitioned to the subway, it kind of made sense because it was the only way to kind of capture somebody's attention, you know? Like, yeah, it's a little gimmicky, but I also, you know, we don't really talk in between songs. I deprived the entire city of New York from this when we're playing in the subway, so at least we could wear masks and hit them visually, and then they'll stop and listen to our music. That's the plan anyway.
Yeah,
But-
I mean, when I first saw you guys at St. Vitus, I saw the 8-string bass, the cello player, and the drummer, and with the masks on, and I was like, I do not know what I'm expecting with this. I really am. This has got to be
That was
something.
the Power Glove show?
Yeah.
Right? You're there to see a band that dressed up like in Guar outfits and played video game music. I just think it's funny you were intimidated by us.
I actually left before they went on.
Oh, you were there to see your friend's band.
Yeah,
Wow.
well, there was
Way to
Driven
support the
Madison
scene
on,
there, Alex.
and then I discovered a band that
I
I'd
know,
never
right?
get tired of seeing.
I appreciate that. We were the best band on that bill. That's what I heard here.
There was 12 drum kits at that show, I think.
Yeah, there's 3 drum kits on stage. One was a left-handed. We had the house kit, and then Power Glove wouldn't move their drum kit, so it was just on stage the entire time. So that was a clusterfuck. But I mean, I think the masks kind of work with the music. We used to have a big long story, like backstory involving them, but it's just not worth it now. And we have to find masks that we can breathe through, that we can see through, that we can transport without breaking. So it's just kind of become a logistical thing at this point. So
Okay.
you know, when we go on tour, people haven't seen us before. Like, I told that to KC, I was like, I want to play for 2 people. And it's like this old Broadway adage, like, I want to play for the people that are seeing us for the first time and the people seeing us for the last time. And some people really like the masks, you know, so I don't think we could ever get rid of them. But the people that just see us for the first time, we're just constantly, we're making them into fans. They were, you know, skeptical like you, and then they end up liking us and showing them us to their mom. So that's really what this is all about.
Yeah.
Moms across America.
Moms across. Again, you guys play the subway, you play video game conventions, you play metal shows, you play children's birthday
Bar
parties.
mitzvahs?
Bar mitzvahs, have you?
No.
Oh.
We'll go for a bar or bat mitzvah, whichever one
Yeah.
pays more at this point.
But, excuse me. But it's like really cool that you have like your own sound that it almost seems like there's no rules. There's certain bands that really can only play with like other bands along their genre, but it seems like you guys could almost just play anywhere.
Well, that's what I try to do. I try to get us to open up for every band that comes to New York. You know? And sometimes it doesn't work. Like, we got really close to opening for Andrew WK. And Casey's like, I don't know if that makes sonic sense. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if it makes sonic sense. Like, I want to play in front of that crowd because I know we can kill it for every crowd. You know, I know we'll be better than any, not any band, but most bands that like a promoter will put on, you know, that is just on the same record label or has the same booking agent. I know we can do better. So I just want to, somebody give us a chance. You
Yeah.
know?
Makes
Well-
it really fun on tour because we see a lot of different music.
Yeah.
You know, like one night we'll be opening for a hip hop guy, and the next night we're playing with Consider the Source or something. It
Yeah.
just gets really strange.
Yeah. I think, and I honestly think that's what keeps people interested in you guys too. Because, you know, there's some bands that people always want to see when they come through, but they can kind of know what to expect. They're just, but it almost seems like, in addition to the diversity in your music, it almost seems like every show that one could see you at is a different experience too.
No, I hope so. Otherwise, you're the Red Hot Chili Peppers or something. Oh, right. Oh, Anthony Sikita subscribes to this channel. Damn it, I'm sorry.
I'm gonna have to do a lot of editing in this one.
Unsubscribe.
You know, you shouldn't have told us don't talk shit, because now it's like saying, like, don't think of the elephant. Like, I'm just constantly thinking of the elephant now. I'm sorry.
I don't get that reference either. Is that from TGIF?
No, it's
Some Jumanji.
a psychology.
Ever
It's
see
a psychological
Jumanji?
thing. I wasn't allowed to see
Jumanji.
Jumanji.
Really?
My dad said it had
I
black
did see
magic in
Jumanji.
it. Wait, the new one?
No, the one with Robin Williams.
Okay, all right.
Okay, good.
Yeah, rest in peace.
Dude, guy had the hairiest arms ever. Like, we're like kinship with that guy.
Anyway, we're gonna move on to part 2 right
Tell
now.
us more about Robin Williams' arms.
We're gonna move on to part 2 now, and we'll see you next time. All right, so now I'm gonna do part 2 where we talk about the. Oh God, you guys suck.
No, but we know-
You said crazy tour stories.
I did promise crazy tour stories. I can definitely say I'm so glad that this entity of the band was on the road when all this shit happened. So, long story short, 6 days before our tour, our cellist basically left the band. We had a sub cellist that was going to be with us on tour, and he's like, "Oh, BT Dubs, I broke my hand like 3 weeks ago, and I finally got it checked out, and I can't come on tour."
That means by the way.
Yes, that's what the crazy kids are saying. BT Dubs.
I never even heard that.
Killing it with this demographic. So we had to find somebody in T-minus 5 days that was going to learn all of our music, that was going to do it for dirt cheap, and was available at the time. So we put out the APB. We basically talked to as many cellists as possible. I talked to guitarists. I talked to keyboard players.
People who didn't even play
Really?
instruments.
Violin. Yeah, we even talked to those
Man.
dirty viola players. Yeah, we had, there was like 2 cellists from Boston that were interested. One could only do the first half, and one could only do the last half. Then we got to meet it, like fly out to Chicago. And we had another violin player that was going to learn all of our stuff. She had to transpose all the music from cello to violin, and she was just going to come up the day before the tour and just play with us.
Oh wow.
And luckily, Tara kind of came down, like Nicolas Cage from heaven, and she saved the day. She was in Brooklyn. She was available at the time. She played electric cello. She'd done some touring, and we were gonna hit a lot of the places that she had lived, because she
Yeah.
went to school
I was
in
excited about that.
in
Cleveland.
Cleveland,
Oh,
and
family in
then
Cleveland.
and then
Really?
she grew up in Lansing, and we played one of the worst shows ever in
It was
Lansing.
terrible, but great to be home.
We played a 3,000 cap room.
Yeah.
20 people.
Yep.
So that was awesome. And then in Chicago, it was just like a fucking lame Sunday night Chicago show anyway. And then we got done with the show. We went back to our place, and then we realized we were looking for our shit. We were taking it up because we were staying at this really awesome high rise. And then we realized that the tour van got broken into while we were playing, and they stole a bunch of our shit. So
Did they steal your bass? or-
no, we were on stage when it happened. So luckily everything was there. No, if they stole
Like all
stole
of
the
our
bass or the
instruments were
cello,
with
this would be
us.
a radically different conversation. We would have been fucked. And
You
if
would have been breaking shit in here as you were talking.
I would have waited for 2 months and come in here and broken shit. Yeah. It's just, if we had that other cellist with us who was just barely in the band, he would have, I honestly believe he just would have like gotten a ticket and flown home.
Really?
Yeah, because it was that kind of detrimental. But because it's us, and like Casey is a really good, like, you know, he's such a workhorse when it comes to this shit. He's like a problem solver. He's just like, okay, like, yeah, I don't have any clothes for the next fucking week, but what can we do to make this work?
Yeah,
you know?
the solution being I wear the same pants for like a
And
week.
you know what's funny? We kept
I
telling
had to
people.
do that a couple times.
Well, because every day, like, it'd be like, oh, we have 4 hours, you know, maybe I'll be able to get to... But then the van broke down, like, the next
my
3
God.
days.
Spoiler alert.
So,
Yeah.
basically, I never even had time because we were just getting to venues, like, 30 minutes before we played because our van broke down 5 times.
So okay, so yeah, 2 days later, the van doesn't start. You know, we have a great show in Indiana. It doesn't start the next day, and it's the worst feeling. It's probably the only time that I feel like I felt like praying since I was a kid. I was like, no, like that's the worst sound in the world, where like the engine just doesn't turn over. Yeah, and you're stuck in the middle of fucking Indiana, and we have to get to Cincinnati that night. So we went, got it fixed, stayed at the, you know, the world's most hillbilly mechanic ever. Was like the coolest guy, and
I
we
got
just,
to watch a lot of, what was that?
well, we watched Maury Povich and we
Yeah.
watched Jerry Springer.
Those were good episodes.
We caught up on Middle America and what they're doing. It's kind of the same as what they've always been doing.
We got free Coke from the Coke
We
machine.
did. He just
Oh.
he took a screwdriver and just, you know, rigged the machine open, and we got free Coke. Anyway, so we fixed the van, and then it
They
barely,
mean the drink, by the way.
and then we got to Cincinnati barely. Like the
That
van was like hot to the touch, and then we got to Columbus. We barely made it to Columbus. Like we went to the side of the road and we put all the liquids in it, and Casey's like, the transmission is slipping. You know, he just, I'm not driving. He's driving. She's driving. And he's like, it feels like it's going to be the Flintstones car at any minute. Like, the thing is
It
just going to
sounded like a
slide out.
747 jet. Like, at a certain point, something just clicked, and it was like, it was so loud, you couldn't even talk in the front seat.
The radio didn't work either, so it was just that noise for the whole tour. And anyway.
I hope you brought headphones.
Then the noise stopped
It's-
at one point, and I was like, oh, that's nice. The noise
Whatever
stopped.
just
Maybe
fixed
the van
itself.
fixed itself. And then 5 minutes later, there was like flames coming out from underneath the hood. And I was like, oh, that's not good.
Yeah, it was on the highway when it happened.
That's
Car-
so metal.
Car got fired, and it sounded like we were on 4 flats.
Yeah, the
And
tire
Yeah.
felt like it was... I think the engine
like-
had seized, basically. So, like, was going through the drivetrain, and parts were just seizing as I was moving.
Yeah. If it was a cartoon, there'd be like springs flying out everywhere. I think that's what it would have looked like.
He
But
was
we,
like, can we make it to the venue?
we thought the venue
No.
was like 2 miles away, so we were thinking about it. It turns out it was like 12 miles away. Luckily, we were going around a
Because we had the
bend.
wrong address. That's right.
Yeah.
It was luckily we were going to 15, 20 miles an hour when it happened, because it could have happened on the highway when we were going like 60, 70, and it would have been fucking terrible. So luckily we found an access road and got off there, and we got out in the van. It's like smoking, and Casey's just like, put a fucking fork in it. It's done, you know. So then the venue sent like 3 vehicles to rescue us. We still made the show on time, and then the van is just got towed to their place, which it still sits today. So anyway,
They inherited a
Months
van.
later.
as Casey was saying, he didn't. Every time we tried to get him some clothes, there's something worse.
And
would
then I got to
happen.
like 3 days left, and I'm like, just...
Yeah, and people kept offering him like, "Yo, do you want a shirt or some underwear or something?" He's like, "No, I could do this."
Don't you bring merch to the show? I would have just...
We had some merch stolen, so but no, I mean,
Oh,
yeah,
I would have been honored by that. That means they liked you guys.
no, they probably just looked for drugs, found it was just bullshit, and probably threw it out somewhere. So
They didn't even take a water. We had a bunch of water in the back
Had
and
water?
some snacks.
I had my laptop in there. They
I-
didn't take. They
I
took.
definitely would
They
have
took her
taken some
inflatable
snacks.
air mattress.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
took that.
Never forget.
So here's my guess. They were on the run. And what did they take? They took the inflatable air mattress. What else?
They took a bunch of merch. They took some lighting equipment. They took a pedal. They took some like a GoPro. They took my juggle bag, like with all my juggling equipment. They took KC's bag. They took like a lighting rig. So yeah.
So here's my guess. They were on the run. They wanted to escape to across seas. So they took the inflatable mattress, your merch to use as a sail, the lighting rig to...
That's not a bad. That's damn it.
Something to it.
Well, they're kind of
Just
far from
solved
the
it.
sea because they're in Chicago. So maybe there's like...
They're at the
Okay, so
finger
they were
trying to
go-
get to Canada.
Yeah, they were trying to get to Canada through Lake Ontario.
Most likely. That seems very legit.
This is why we can't talk about instrumental music only. Like we don't.
I'm cropping that part out.
We don't have. We don't have.
I,
a lot of
I just
knowledge.
I just developed a new idea. Because just like your
Tour
music,
stories are way more interesting.
no, well, to be honest with you, just like your music, where you kind of have to develop a thought as you kind of go along. That I have been with
There
this.
you go. You're improvising.
Yeah.
You're like a sexy jazz musician.
Yeah.
Look at
I'm
you.
just
You
I'm
got
just gonna
color back in your face.
I'm just gonna illegally download Bayonet and just play that on
That's fine.
repeat for the whole
Can
time.
you upload it to Napster because we're killing it on there?
Sure.
Play it backwards. It's actually the same song.
What?
Is that a Bayonet joke?
Yeah. If you play it backwards, it's the same song. 'Cause
You know what's funny when we
it ends the same way it starts.
when we did a proof for the album, I realized that I had spelled bayonet incorrectly, and then I was like frantically looking it up, and I'm like, oh wait, it is spelled correctly if it's the original French version of how you say the word, and I was like, fuck it, I'm keeping it.
Bayonet.
There you go.
You do that for every tour poster. There's always one hidden misspelling.
Yeah,
Like,
I
it
gotta throw
gets-
it to Casey.
It gets officially sent out to everyone, and I'm like, yo.
Dude, yeah. Well, I've gotten the brother discount. He's done all of our artwork forever, but the downside is like, he's a writer as well for a bunch of metal magazines. His spelling just sucks, you know. So, but it's the price you pay because you get, you know, the family discount forever.
He
So
doesn't mean
Casey he's the eagle eye grammar Nazi, even though his spelling on text is terrible as well. But for some reason, he's really good at spotting it. So.
Every band needs one.
You should see the way my brother spelled Manhattan wrong for like the first 5 years that I lived here. So
Well, I've noticed every band has one type of member. There's one guy, or there's just one member who never goes out. They are like a hermit. They show up for practice, they show up for the gigs, and you never see them otherwise. So who's that in the band?
well, I mean, Casey just got a new job where he's always working, so it might be him.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely a hermit.
Yeah.
But I'm always working, so I just
Who's the
leave,
partier?
leave the house.
I
to
mean,
do
obviously
stuff.
it's Tara. Look at her.
I think that's Casey too.
Probably, yeah.
He's
But
never-
I just don't go to parties. They just find me.
Oh, I didn't choose the party life.
Right,
The party
exactly.
life chose me.
Exactly. That's exactly it. Like
He
I don't.
just shows up and confetti flies out of his ass.
Yeah, I'm not like, oh, it's Friday night. What are we gonna do tonight? I'm just like, oh, I have to work here, but somehow it's still like people having fun.
I gotta force myself to go out because we wear a mask on stage, so I have to show my face to these venues as well. And I can't just be the guy that's like, hey, come to my show, and then I'm not gonna see your shitty comedy show. Like, I gotta go to your shitty comedy show, obviously.
Of course.
So
You got to subscribe to my YouTube channel.
if it had a little less swearing, I would subscribe to it.
Well, if I had a little less You Bred Raptors, I would have a little less. Oh.
I don't understand how you can have. Didn't you interview like goat whore or anal cunt or something?
I interviewed Gold Whore, yeah.
Can you
Yeah,
say
so
that?
I don't understand how you're like, well, I'm offended at something you said.
I don't know. Now that you bring that up, shit.
I
Called
tried
out.
to drink
We just
the
hit-
microphone.
We just hitting a really, you know.
We just
really
hit an
dark
all-time
places.
low. I like that band too. But
Vertical rise.
final question before I start editing all this. Anything else from You Bred Raptors?
I think we're gonna get some new masks. I think we're gonna do a new look.
Did you bring the masks here?
We did. Casey's been asking, not so subtly, the last couple of years, like let's do something different. So,
Well, most of them, all the paint is chipped off, and
are you talking? It comes off on your face. It's
the
really
nose,
great.
the noses are like smashed from being stepped on.
You should play. You should actually play live without the masks.
We did that one show, and I didn't like it. I make weird sex faces when I play, and I don't want to subject anybody to that.
I would be honored. I will
I
be in the
know,
front
right?
row.
I'll
I
give
love
you
you.
arthritis again.
It's just like
Now you got to keep that in because they're not going to get the call back.
yeah. Well, here's the thing.
But the,
Here's the thing.
that was a joke.
Everything I said.
previously.
ev-
However, that may.
Well, it's funny because everything I say, every word I say, I just know Pete's gonna have some weird comeback for all of it. It's like,
Look, my dad's not proud of what I've done in my life, so this is how I feel better about myself.
oh wow, now I actually feel horrible. That just went so grim.
As far as what we're
Man.
doing, well, I think we're gonna.
Crickets everywhere just
I
chirped.
think we want to. I think we want to keep people guessing. That's all. We don't want to come out and keep doing the same shit. Especially now, since like that Bowery Ballroom show, it's gonna every day I wake up with a pit in my stomach. Like, are we gonna bring enough people to that? You know.
You got me.
So well, there you go.
You
So
got-
you buy 100 tickets.
Sure.
So that's going to be the big deal now. Like, I think we've all kind of collectively said, let's play less busking shows, less, small shows because we need people to come out. These fucking freeloaders that are just seeing us in the subway. Like, yes, that is a good way to get new fans, but they're not stepping up and seeing us at a venue.
You're gonna take that, MTA riders?
If you see something, say something.
Buy something.
No, that should be like a good like.
That's good.
We are You Bred Raptors. Thanks for checking us out. If you see something, say something.
Also, your bags are subject to inspection by You Bred Raptors.
I might throw my phone number in there. One of our cellists did that. He just stopped the show to give his phone number to a girl. I was like, that's pretty brazen. It was terrible. She gets around.
Well, this
On
completely.
that note.
Here's what you guys need to understand about You Bred Raptors. When you see them live, you are going to have a completely different mind frame than before. So, just like this episode of Heavy New York Talks, I have a completely different idea than what I was intending.
His new idea is to never have a Sonic.
Well, yeah, there's that, but I was talking about how I'm going to crop this all together. You know what? That's what's going to happen. I'm just going to, when you guys leave, I'm just going to refilm this with the three of you
You're
guys.
going to Photoshop us out of this.
Yeah. And then I'm just going to ask all the same questions I did and be like, wow, you guys are such good listeners.
We just get the dummies and you put masks on them, and then
yeah.
no one can tell this is not us.
That's actually a really good idea. You brought the masks here, right?
We did, yeah.
All right, cool. And that is this episode of H&Y Talks. Oh, fuck. That was the one I rented from the store.